Somebody tell me the answers. Me and you isn't the answer. Me and you isn't. Maybe I'm telling myself that, but there ain't nothing that'll change that. What would it be if I knew how you felt about me? Yeah, it could have been right, but I was wrong. Only thing I truly know, part of me that's. Hey y'all, what is good with everybody? Happy Sunday. I hope everyone is having a great day and preparing themselves for a productive week. Um, yeah, I'm feeling good today. Okay. I am so happy that we are at 153 subbies. It is an amazing feeling, guys. I cannot thank you enough. In fact, I'm going to thank you every time I make a video because without you guys interacting, engaging, and liking and subbing to my channel, there will be no channel. Okay. And so I have to love on you guys each and every time. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It is just greatly appreciated. Okay. And I sincerely mean that. So let me ask y'all a question. Have you ever been into like a disagreement, a dialogue, an argument with someone? You guys have exchanged words. It's over with. You go your separate ways. And then you get home and it's like you think about all of the things that you could have said during the disagreement. And now you pissed because the disagreement is over and you got like a whole dissertation, okay, of all of the things that you could have said. Well, that is how I feel right now, okay, because on my last video, I was basically setting the record straight about Don Woods and how I don't believe her son stole the car. I believe she knew very well that he had the car and she was trying to cover her tail. So even if, let's just say we'll play devil's advocate a little bit. Even if he took the car from her and she didn't know, some kind of way she just did not know. Why is it that she called him an Uber to flee the scene? Not only flee the scene, flee the city, get out of Waukesha altogether and get back home to safety. Can somebody explain that to me? Since there are people that believe that, oh, poor Dawn, she couldn't have done anything. You know, he was just so out of control and she couldn't help him. I need somebody to explain that for me. Okay. Furthermore, y'all know I love receipts. And so I'm going to play the call that she placed to Mr. Daniel Ryder on the day of the incident when her precious baby boy was desperately trying to evade law enforcement. So let's share this good old screen so that I can show my receipts. Okay. Let's see. Hold on. Here we go. All right, let's take a listen.
Okay. Can you tell us what phone number that voicemail came from?
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled, he may answer.
The voicemail came from one, so plus one or whatever. So 414-610-2153.
Can you tell us what time that voicemail came in?
Yeah.
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled, he may answer.
5:27 p.m. on November 21st
Of 2021?
of 2021.
Objection, leading.
Overruled, his answer may stand.
And Your Honor, at this point, I'd ask to allow the witness to play that voicemail using speakerphone. And if that doesn't work great with the audio system, then we can try the plugging in option.
Once again, the jury, again, will only consider this not for the truth of the matter, what's asserted in that voicemail, but simply to substantiate that it was received. Go ahead.
Objection.
Noted. Overruled.
Yes, Mr. Ryder, I don't know what's going on. I'm at work. I work at Freighter. And my son, that was my son who you let use your phone, and he's calling. I don't know what's going on. I'm just trying to see if he got the lift or what, because the guy is in a white Charger. I guess apparently the lift driver switched cars, and I didn't get the message. So I'm just trying to find out what the hell is going on. So I'm just want someone to just call me and tell me something, because I don't know.
Did you hear that? She's trying to call Mr. Ryder to see what the hell is going on because she don't know. Now, I said it last time. I don't remember what time he plowed through the parade, okay? But what I do know is that his mom worked night shift, which, if I remember correctly, I used to work in healthcare and I worked 12-hour night shifts, and they were either from 6 to 6, so 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., 6:30 p.m. to 6:30 a.m., or 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. She did not drive, so she caught the bus to work, or her friend took her to work and dropped her off back home. Okay. He called her right after he was able to get away from the parade. He had to use someone else's phone because his phone died and the truck was towed up. Okay. And mind you, he's running away. So he had to call her, I don't know, let's just say 5:30. Okay. My point is, she was at home when he got the keys to the car and left. Now, she either gave him those keys or he stole the keys. Either way, you're not going to tell me she was not well aware that he had the keys to the vehicle. Now, I don't believe that she knew where he was going. I'm not going to say that. She probably didn't know where he was going. But the fact of the matter is, you knew he didn't have a license. You knew there was no insurance on that vehicle whatsoever. Okay, so you're in the wrong for that part of it. Now, I'll give you a little grace. You more than likely, I would hope, didn't think he was gonna go do what he did. Okay. But after the fact, you saw footage of your car being used as a murder weapon. And instead of you staying put after you called 911 to report it, you accept a call from him twice to secure him a way to get out of the city and back home so you can protect him. I don't want anybody else in my comments telling me that she did not know and she did not have a choice and she did not know what to do. Nope. No. Those are the facts. I stick with the facts. I am not playing on emotion. I'm not acting on emotion. I am a mother. And no, no. She knew he had that car. Okay. And she knew he was trying to get away from the scene of a crime. That's it. The rest y'all can kill. Kill the noise. Kill that noise. We're going to move on. Today, I want to talk about Erika Patterson. And let me say this too. I am not speaking of her in a way to bash her whatsoever. I have read so many comments and reports, or I should say commentary, where people are literally blaming her for the massacre. And they are saying that had she not met up with him, then he wouldn't have been upset and drove away in the fashion that he chose to drive away. I don't want to hear any of that because we're going to talk a little bit about battered woman syndrome, period. Okay. And if you have never been in an abusive relationship, anything that you have to say pertaining to this topic means nothing to me. It is so easy for us to pass judgment and make comments about subjects that we have not been a part of. Okay. There have been times when Erica met up with him, and I can't speak to what led her to do so. Was she in the right to do so? It's not for me to say. I have never been in a domestic V situation, so I can't say what I would and wouldn't do. Okay. If my abuser was stalking me and pressuring me to meet up with him, I couldn't. So I'm not going to go there either. But I do not appreciate people putting so much blame on her for something that she could not have possibly prevented. There was no possible way that this girl could have prevented this idiot from doing what he did. Okay, it is time to move on from her. She is a victim in healing, and we need to show her love and grace. At the end of the day, she is a human being. Okay, she wants to move on from this like everybody else that it has affected. And we are not in a position to judge her or make her feel any worse than she could already be feeling. So I don't want to hear any of that either. If you feel that Erica is responsible for what has happened, you can go talk to somebody else about that because I don't want to hear it. I don't. This channel is not here for that. We do not victim blame at all. We do not victim bash. I want this to be a channel where we can speak facts, we can love on each other, okay, and not make people feel bad who were possibly in no position to do better at the time. We're not going to make them feel bad for decisions that they made, okay, to possibly get out of danger, especially when they didn't have anybody to advocate for them. You got to remember, she's not from Wisconsin, okay? She didn't have anybody here to advocate for her, to speak on her behalf, to help her. And I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, well, she put her friends in danger. Two able bodied individuals with their own minds. She didn't force them to come anywhere with her, okay? I don't want to hear that either. We're not going there. So the first thing I want to do is I want to read something that I found. This dates back to 2007. Okay. So Daryl Brooks had pleaded guilty in Nevada for SA of a 15-year-old girl. We know who that is. Okay. So while he was in court, he begged the judge to cut him a break because he wrote a letter stating that he was raised without a father. He was diagnosed with bipolar and manic depression when he was 12. He did not grow up with a father. His mom was stuck raising him and his sister. They were on welfare for most of the childhood, and that his father was an alcoholic who was abusive to his mom. He also stated that his grandfather was an alcoholic. He says that he grew up in a city full of drugs and prostitution. This is the same story he told at his sentencing. The same story. Almost verbatim. Okay. So the judge fell for it this time and gave him a state. Well, hold on. Let me read this the right way. Okay. Hold on. Despite penning a sob story to the judge, Brooks repeatedly violated a stay away order. Okay. And contacted his underage victim. So he was let out, continued to violate the stay away order. While he was in jail, he stole a phone card from another inmate that he used to obsessively call Miss Patterson. Okay. He was let out on that bond I was telling you about. I think that was the signature bond. That was $10,000. And he was let out on the promise that he would not contact Miss Patterson. Okay. However, however, he met her. Well, he didn't meet her. He went to her school. Okay. And he knocked on the window, she came outside, and that is where their story picks back up. Okay. This happened on February 21st. So it is to my understanding that prior to him being released, they did try to give him a post release treatment. They tried to place him, I should say. And the Salvation Army refused to let him into the program because he had a criminal history, a violent criminal history. The judge also tried to place him in another treatment program. However, he was denied acceptance because he was unable to make the payment necessary for placement. Okay. They went on to say that there was no inpatient program that they can place him in. So he was released to a halfway house. Um, I don't know. I don't know how much the payment was. It's easy for me to say his mom could have given him the money to stay instead of purchasing the car for him to live in. That's neither here nor there. Okay. So the probation officers were actually the ones that trailed him while he was en route to Miss Patterson's school. Okay. So he caught the bus, went to the school, knocked on the door, waited outside. She came outside. Okay. It was noted that Darrell had been peppering the family with phone calls during the jail stint. Okay. His mother, not his mother, I'm sorry, Erica's mom had let the probation office know that Darrell was in direct contact with Erica on several occasions. Her mother indicated that he was calling all hours of the day and would hang up the phone if the mom answered. Okay. Erica's mom also indicated that she had spoken with the police department regarding the calls. Okay. So he called while he was in jail. He called when he was released from jail. While he was in jail, her mom let let the jail know that he's calling. They did nothing about it and he was still released. Okay. So you guys have to understand that Erica was being abused from the age of 15. I don't know if her mom tried harder to get some type of orders in place, some type of protective orders in place to help her daughter. I'm not sure. Um, but the jails were well aware that he was still able to basically harass her. And then upon release, he immediately went to find her to harass her some more. So I want people that have these negative comments to say about her. Think back to when you were 15 years old, okay? You're meeting people, opposite sex, same sex, I don't know. You get involved with someone, you're immature, okay? You're being abused. It is going to stunt your maturity, okay? When you're young and naive like that, you're not thinking like an adult would. And it's so easy for us as adults to say, Well, she should have just walked away. It's not that simple. When you're in a relationship with someone who is 1 minute loving on you and the next minute they're abusing you. He groomed her. And with that grooming, he conditioned her to accept abuse. It is a hard thing to hear. I understand. But that's the way that it happens. You can't fault a 15-year-old for being in this situation and not having the support from family to help her understand that this is not how this is supposed to be. Okay? People who experience abuse are often anxious, depressed, and helpless. They are embarrassed out of fear for judgment. Okay? You remember when Erica had said, "Why won't he love me?" Because they feel if I can only get him to see that I'm good enough, that I'm valuable, I'm a lovable person, maybe they will stop abusing me. Okay? They become emotionally withdrawn. They deny that anything is going wrong and they excuse the other person's behavior. Hence the reason why she probably let him know she was out on the street walking around with her friends and he went and met up with her. Okay? She probably felt that no one could help her, and I can't fault her on that because if this man was able to harass her to many a times from jail and the police didn't do anything about it, y'all still let this man out to go and harass her and abuse her more? I wouldn't be trusting either. I would not be trusting of anything anymore. He's probably told her time and time again that he's the only one there that loves her, that he's the only one there that's there for her. And she believed it. A lot of times abusers will tell the person that they are abusing that they deserved it or you made me do this to you because of this. If you had not made me mad, this wouldn't have happened. He said out of his own raggedy ass mouth. If I had not met up with her, if she hadn't got me put in jail, if she had a paid my mama back that money, I would not have gotten mad and I would not have gotten behind that vehicle and I would not have lost my cool to drive through this parade. Okay? Abusers have an intense feeling of fear. If you guys have had the opportunity to listen to the interview that she did with Detective Guth, I won't be playing it. But if you had an opportunity to listen to that, you heard the fear in her voice. Okay. She repeatedly apologized for things that she didn't need to apologize for. She broke down when they told her that he was arrested out of fear, that he was going to get out and come and get her and harm her, possibly unalive her. Okay. You cannot fault her for being abused. You cannot. You can't fault her for growing up trying to get her life back on track. And this person keeps showing up to dismantle that. She said that he would use some app to change his number every time, and then he found her. Mm-mm. Let's move on a little bit, y'all. Okay, we are going to watch her testimony, and I think I'm going to speed it up because I believe it's lengthy. So I'm going to be borrowing footage from Mushmouth Joe. I don't know if you guys know of his channel. He's hilarious. He has edited down the trial for us, and I am so appreciative of that. And so we're gonna start. She took the stand day 2 for the prosecution. Give me a second. Okay. She took the stand day 2 for the prosecution. We're gonna speed it up just a little bit, um, and just take a listen, and then we'll discuss.
Any new information?
Oh,
All right.
it's a little too fast. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Let's try 1.5.
Information that I have on whether there's new information is they don't have the results, but medical will be called again to check on that to see if anything new, any new information is available. But as of right now, there's not. I also was advised that you were offered 3 times to have street closed by Officer Gabor. Just want to make a record of that.
Intend to appeal that judicial decision, Your Honor.
Understood. You may appeal as you deem appropriate.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's bring the jury out. I will ask everyone stand for the jury out of respect for them. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Welcome back. Have a seat. I'll make sure looks like you all have your writing materials to take notes if you so choose. With that, the state may call its next witness.
Thank you. The state calls Erika Patterson.
Thank you. Have a seat. First thing I will have you do is to state your first.
Now, let me just say, I applaud Erika for her strength. I'm sure this is not easy for her at all. She found something nice to wear. She looks presentable. She's nervous, but she's strong. Okay. Let's show her some grace, y'all.
And last names for the record, and then spell each.
Erika Patterson, Erika Patterson.
Thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Patterson. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. Sorry.
Can you tell us, do you know a man by the name of Darrell Brooks?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I'd ask that the court have Mr. Brooks temporarily remove his mask.
Mr. Brooks, you're advised to remove your mask, please. Thank you.
Ms. Patterson, do you see Darrell Brooks in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
Can you tell us where he's sitting and what he's wearing?
On the left side, and he's wearing an orange shirt and a mask.
And does the record reflect the witness has identified the defendant?
The record will reflect that this witness has identified the defendant.
Can you tell us how long you've known Darrell Brooks?
Since I was 15,
How old are you now?
32 today.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you.
What's the nature of your relationship with Mr. Brooks?
We have a 15-year-old daughter together.
In what state did you meet Mr. Brooks?
Reno, Nevada.
And when did you come to Wisconsin?
Last year, 2021, June 13th.
Why did you come to Wisconsin?
We were coming out here. I was going to be out here for 2 weeks and go back and then back.
Who did you come to Wisconsin with?
Darrell Brooks,
Where did you live when you got to Wisconsin?
Atlanta, Georgia. Or we live with his mother, sorry.
Mr. Brooks' mother?
Mhm.
In what city was that?
Hold on, was that a yes?
Yes, I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's what my job is to make sure that.
Yes, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
At some point, did you stop living in Milwaukee and start living in Waukesha?
Yes, I did.
Do you remember approximately when that timeline was?
November 2nd, 2021.
Okay. Where were you staying in Waukesha?
The women's shelter in Waukesha.
That's downtown?
Yes.
Do you know a person by the name of Corey Runkle?
Yes.
Where did you meet Corey Runkle?
The women's shelter.
Were you roommates?
Yes.
I want to direct your attention to the date of November 21st, 2021.
Yes.
Did you know anything about a parade happening in Waukesha that day when you woke up that morning?
I didn't know about the parade.
Okay, what about that afternoon? Did it become apparent to you that something was
Yes.
going on?
Yes.
Did you come into contact with Darrell Brooks on the afternoon of November 21st, 2021?
Yes.
Where did you first come into contact with Mr. Brooks?
At Frame Park.
And how did that come about? What were you doing? Why did you get there?
We were messaging and calling each other all day. We were arguing back and forth. He came out there. Well, I told him I was with Miss Corey. And he came out there. I told him where I was. Got in his car. We drove around. And then I forgot the street. We went up that street. It's a hill. It's kind of by the Walgreens. We went up that hill. We drove around. Me and him got into an altercation. He hit me in my eye. I jumped out of the car. Walked and found my way back by Frame Park. And then he followed me there. And then I went back in his car. I got out. And I had called Corey. Well, I called Corey before that. And she came to me and I told her that me and him got into an altercation. So she met up with me. And by the time she got there, she pulled me out the way because his car turned around. He swerved. She pulled me out of the way. He got out of his car. And they got into an altercation. He pushed her in her face. And I don't remember if she hit him back or anything. That time he walked away and walked back to the women's shelter.
Now, I want to say this. I had read comments, not on my channel, but just other places where there were people saying that her friends shouldn't have been there or she coerced her friends to be there. But I'm left to wonder, had they not been there, she probably wouldn't be here to testify. Okay? She probably wouldn't be here. He met with her to do damage. He swerved the car at her. He's always used that car as a weapon. Okay?
Okay, let's go back and go through some of the details of that, right?
Yes.
You said that you told Mr. Brooks that you were hanging out with Miss Corey.
Yes.
Were you hanging out with Corey Runkle earlier that day?
Yes, her and her friend Nick.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you remember where you were with those two?
It was at the Frame Park because we had split up when I met up with Daryl.
Okay. Do you remember what you were doing in Frame Park with Corey?
We were just hanging out.
Okay. Any alcohol involved?
Yeah, a little bit.
Do you
Yeah,
remember?
like a Mike's Hard, a little Mike's Hard beer.
Would you say that you were intoxicated after consuming one Mike's Hard beer?
No, I was not.
And at what point did you split up with Corey?
When Daryl was on his way, Corey and Nick had left, so I sat there and waited for him. We were still arguing on the phone, but I waited for him.
You were in Frame Park?
Yes.
How did Daryl arrive? That is, he didn't walk to Waukesha.
He drove in his mother's car. It was the red. Was it a Ford, I believe? I'm not sure what kind of car, but it was the red.
Had you seen him driving that car on previous occasions?
Yes.
Had you ever been in that vehicle before?
Yes.
When you were staying with Mr. Brooks' mother, were you staying in the house?
No.
Where were you staying?
We were outside. Sometimes we sleep in that car because his mom, he was not allowed to, be in the house. So yes.
And you slept in that car with Mr. Brooks?
Yes.
That's before November of 2021?
Yes.
Describe for us what happened when Mr. Brooks first arrived in Frame Park and you first saw him that day.
We were still arguing, pretty much. He was already in a bad mood when he met up with me anyways.
This is an argument that face-to-face using words, not messaging,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. Did you get in the vehicle?
Yes.
Okay, and what happened next?
We drove around and we were arguing, and that's when we got into the altercation in the car, and that's when I jumped out. We were up the hill.
Do you remember exactly the route that the two of you took while you were driving around?
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled. She may answer.
Yes, I do. I'm not sure the exact street names. Like I said, I'm not from Waukesha, but I do know the route.
After, the next day you met with Detective Steve Guthier, is that right?
Yes, it was the same day.
And you got in a squad car with Detective Guth
Oh, that was the next day, yes. Sorry.
and showed him the route that you took with Mr. Brooks?
Yes, I did.
You described going up a hill, right?
Yes.
Did you cross the river before you did that?
No.
What happened once you got up top of the hill?
He drove up farther more, and then that's when I jumped. It was on up the hill, it was farther more, and then that's when he hit me, and I jumped on his car. Well, his mother's car.
Where were you sitting when he hit you?
The passenger side front seat,
Where was he sitting?
driver's side,
What did he use to hit you?
his hand.
Was it an open hand, a closed fist?
Yes. What was it? Like this, sorry, like his open hand.
Okay.
But it was hard, because
So
it,
the record should reflect that the witness raised her right hand and
yes,
kind of waved it almost like a backslap?
harder than that.
Now, there were some other comments where people asked, or commented that they couldn't believe that she got back in the car. Well, what would you do? If it were you, you were outside walking around, minding your own business, and this maniac jumps in the car, swerving around, swerving the car at you. I would feel safer getting in the car than him running me over again. Or am I not making any sense? I'm sorry that he slapped her, but I mean, come on, let's try to be sensible about this. Like, he's swerving at her on the streets in her county. He doesn't even live in Waukesha. Okay. To me, it would make more sense to get into the car than have him potentially run me over a second time. He's already run her over and dislocated her femur. Y'all tell me.
Okay. What did you do after Mr. Brooks struck you?
I cried, and then I just jumped out of the car, and then going towards down the hill, and he was following me,
Describe how you were going down the hill.
walking down the hill,
And how was he going down the hill?
driving.
The red Ford Escape?
Yes.
What happened next?
He just followed me all the way to the park.
Okay.
He tried to take my phone from me at the light going down the hill, and he just kept following me and arguing with me out the window.
Do you recall being near a gas station while this argument was happening?
Yes.
Objection, relevancy.
Yes.
Hold on. Overruled. She may answer, and the answer she provided may stand.
Yes. It was right at the light. The gas station. That's a gas station on the left, and then Walgreens is towards the right.
And do you remember what was being said at the gas station?
I do not remember.
What happened when you got past the gas station?
I kept walking. He was still following me.
Did you at any point attempt to contact anybody for help?
No, just Corey. But towards the Frame Park. That's when I called her. When I got closer to them.
Did she answer?
Yes.
What did you say?
I said he just hit me, and I said, I need you to meet me, and that's when she met me.
Where did you go?
I walked past Frame Park, and I went. I met Corey, and I got into his car, and then got back out, and I met Corey at White Rock School, I believe it is.
When you say his car, you're talking about who?
Daryl Brooks.
What happened when you got to White Rock School?
That's when I got there, got back in his car, talked to him, got back out. Corey had met. She snatched me out of the way because he swerved his car when he made a U-turn, and then that's when he got out of the car, and they were arguing, and he hit her in her face, and then I think she pushed him back. I don't recall. And then I was trying to split them up at the time. After that, we just kept walking and went to the women's shelter.
Who's we?
Me and Miss Corey.
Madam Clerk, could we please have the state's rear table projected for the witness? Projected on the screen in front of you, a video marked as State's Exhibit number 4. Do you see the screen?
Yes,
Have you seen this video before?
yes.
What does it depict, or what's in this video? What are we going to see here?
You're gonna see me walking, and you're gonna see him turning the car back around and Corey meeting up with me in the altercation they had.
Does this video accurately show what happened in front of the White Rock School on November 21st of 2021?
Yes.
Move Exhibit 4 into evidence and request permission to publish.
Any objections?
Yes, we haven't even played the video. How do we know what's even in the video at this point? Can we see the video before
What
we
an
admit it into evidence?
idiot.
Your objection is noted. The foundation has been
Shut the
laid.
hell
Exhibit
up.
4 is received.
Actually, can we pause quick? Pause at 1:04. And just to clarify, Ms. Patterson, we're going to watch portions of the video. We're not going to talk while it's playing. And then when it's paused, I'll ask you questions, okay?
Okay.
All right. Resume at 1:04.
Now there she is. She don't know what to do. Oh my gosh.
Let's pause. We've paused at 1 minute and 37 seconds. Ms. Patterson, who did we see in the video there walking?
Me.
Okay. And we saw a red SUV, right?
Yes.
Who was driving that SUV?
Daryl Brooks.
Was there anybody else in the vehicle at that point, to your knowledge?
Nope.
Okay. Let's resume playing. Let's pause there. At 4 minutes and 17 seconds. The two people who just entered the screen from the right, do you know who they are? Do
Corey and Nick.
you know which is which?
Corey's on the left, Nick's on the right.
Let's resume playing. Okay, let's pause there. Ms. Patterson, we watched the video, but you were there. Can you tell us what was happening during that portion of the video we just watched?
Corey and Mr. Brooks were arguing, and that's when he pushed her in her face, and I don't recall what she did back, and then that's when he drove off. One of them, I think it was Nick, called the police, and that's when he drove off.
Do you remember what Nick said when he called the police?
I believe Nick said he had a knife, if I recall, but he didn't have one, but that's what Nick said on the phone.
When you say he, who are you talking about?
Daryl Brooks.
And you didn't see Mr. Brooks with a knife that day?
No.
What about Nick? Did you see him with a knife?
No.
Did you have a knife?
No.
Corey?
No.
Why do you think Nick said to the police that there was a knife?
Probably to make them come faster.
Who got into the driver's seat at the end of that video?
Daryl Brooks.
And again, anybody in the vehicle at that point?
No.
Other than him?
No.
Let's resume playing from 6:03. And we can stop it there.
I walked away from Corey and Nick because I was mad because me and her started arguing after that because she was mad that I even met up with Mr. Brooks.
Okay.
And then she was running after me.
Do you know the direction that you were walking there?
Straight. And then
That's fair. Watch this
sorry,
confusing.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Towards downtown or away from?
Towards downtown. Sorry.
And where did you go after you walked off the screen here?
I just kept walking until they followed me and then we made a left. I'm not sure what street it was, but we made a left. We didn't know yet. We just made a left turn and went straight towards the women's shelter.
Before you turned off of the street you're walking on here, did you have contact with a police officer?
Yes, we did.
Okay. And you spoke briefly with that officer?
Yes.
And then where'd you go after you spoke with that officer?
Then we left. That's when we made the left across the street and went towards the shelter, one of the shelter.
At the moment when Mr. Brooks left the little physical scuffle that we saw there and got into the driver's seat, how would you describe his demeanor?
He was angry.
Okay, how do you know that? What was he saying or doing that led you to believe that?
Besides the fact that he was arguing the whole time and he hit me, he was just mad. He just left very angry. He just drove off fast. He was mad. They called the cops.
You don't recall any specific things that he said at that point?
No.
Do you recall what kind of shoes he was wearing?
I do not.
Do you remember meeting with detectives after this and saying that he was wearing blue slides?
I don't recall that,
Okay.
but sure I did.
Can we please pull up for the witness only, Exhibit 5?
Objection. Why is that for witness? Oh,
Shut up.
You recognize this photograph?
Yes. Yes.
Judge, was it supposed to be for witness only?
Mm.
The exhibit's previously been received and the state requested permission to publish it once again, and I granted that request.
So just so I'm clear, when it's published again, then it's,
Correct. When I say permission to publish granted, that means it will be shown to the courtroom and to the jury.
okay, I didn't understand.
That's okay.
Ms. Patterson, who's that in that picture?
That's me.
And that photograph was taken
The day of the parade.
November 21st,
Yes.
the night.
Yes.
And what injuries do we see in that photograph?
That is my left eye that was swollen.
Your left eye would have been the eye closest to the defendant, based on your description of where you and the defendant were sitting in the vehicle?
Yes.
And how did you sustain that injury?
From him, Mr. Brooks, when he hit me.
Ms. Patterson, did you consent in any way to being struck in the face?
No.
That's all I have for this witness.
All right, thank you, Mr. Brooks. Do you have any questions for this witness?
Oh, Lord. Jesus.
First of all, good morning
Good morning.
and happy birthday.
Thank you.
See, the manipulation starts. Now, she was strong giving her testimony to Attorney Witchout with no issues whatsoever. She didn't even look at him. And now he's using a tactic to disrupt all of that, get all in her head so that she feels intimidated and she can't give a clear testimony.
Um,
Look
You-
at her. Look at her. Her whole demeanor has changed. She's nervous now. She's feeling insecure. I understand that, per the Constitution, we all have a right to represent ourselves in court. I get that, but I don't. I don't like the fact that he was able to um question her. I can't think of the terminology right now. Seeing as though she is a victim of his. None of these people should have been able to be questioned by him. It's just
stated that you were hanging out with your friend Miss Corey on the day of this incident, correct?
Yes.
Would it be fair to say that you were hanging out drinking?
Yes.
Would it also be fair to say that you
look at her respirations, y'all. They've increased. That's a sign of anxiety. That is a sign of anxiety. You know what they should have done for her? They should have had someone else that's an attorney question her under oath at a separate location, had him write down his idiotic questions. Prosecution could have written down their questions and just had a meeting room with the judge and someone else, an officer of the court, to question her under oath so that she does not have to experience this. Excuse me. This is abuse to me. Now, going to court and having to testify, it's already intimidating in and of itself, right? But to be questioned by someone who has abused you for 17 years and try to make it as if you are the bad guy in this scenario and try to make it as if it's your fault that this happened, the weight that is on her shoulders right now is unacceptable to me.
occasionally drink too much?
Objection, colleagues.
Sustained.
Would it be fair to say that, well, let me back up. What were you drinking?
A Mike's Hard beverage.
Were you aware that it was said that you were actually drinking vodka?
No.
Hold on. There's an
What does
objection.
that have
We're
to
doing it
do with
first, okay?
anything?
Sustained that mischaracterizes the previous testimony.
So it would be fair to say that you were drinking.
Yes,
Would it be fair to say that you were a little intoxicated?
I was not.
How much did you drink that day?
1 cup of Mike's Hard alcohol beverage.
And around what time of the day was that?
I don't remember.
Was it shortly before meeting up with the alleged defendant, or was it sometime before?
It was before.
Did you have anything to drink after?
No, I did not.
You stated that you were engaging in a conversation with the alleged defendant via the telephone. Would that be fair to say?
Yes,
Texts, phone calls?
yes.
Were those texts and phone calls of what nature were they of?
Me and Mr. Brooks were arguing throughout the day.
In the texts and phone calls?
Yes, we were.
If there were, if the conversation was argumentative, why would you agree to meet up with the alleged defendant?
I do not know.
Do you recall how the meetup was supposed to be set up?
I don't recall.
Did you at any time ask the alleged defendant to meet up with you?
Well, I told Mr. Brooks where I was.
Did you at any time ask to meet up with the alleged defendant?
No, I did not.
So it would be fair to say that the alleged defendant just came where you were?
Yeah.
Yes, I told you we were. And obviously, we were going to hang out. I never told Mr. Brooks to hang out with me. I told him where we were.
So why would, if there was an argumentative conversation prior to you meeting up with the alleged defendant, why would you tell the alleged defendant where you were?
Objection.
Sustained.
You just stated that you really don't know the city of Waukesha. Would that be fair to say?
Yes,
So how would you know exactly where you were?
because I was with Corey and she's familiar with this area.
Would it be fair to say that Corey overheard these conversations between you and the alleged defendant?
Yes, she was my roommate. She heard every conversation almost.
You say every conversation. What would that?
When she was in the room with me, when I was always talking to Mr. Brooks on the phone, she would hear the conversations. She heard me and Mr. Brooks, me, Erika Patterson, and Mr. Brooks arguing the day of the parade earlier before we left.
So it would be fair to say that you were engaged in conversation with the alleged defendant before you even left the women's shelter?
Yes,
And those argumentative conversations continue into your hanging out?
yes,
Would it be fair to say that that's what led you to drink?
no,
Would it be fair to say you were drinking because that's what you wanted to do?
yes.
He just asked her, due to the arguments, is that what led you to drink? Does he not realize that that makes him look even worse? It makes it look as if you were putting her in a position to where she was stressed and she was trying to find something to cope. Idiot.
Is it true that one of the rules and requirements of being at the women's shelter is no drugs and no alcohol? Would that be fair to say?
Yes, but when I was drinking, it was at Frame Park. I was not at the women's shelter.
Would it be fair to say that you knew you had to come back into the women's shelter at some point that day, that they have a curfew?
Yes, and I made it before curfew.
Let me back up a little bit.
Oh, Lord.
You did state that part of the rules and requirements for being in the women's shelter is no drugs and no alcohol, correct?
Yes, it was not in the women's shelter.
That's not what I'm asking. It's part of the requirement.
Daryl, you want to sit up here and try to always find out why somebody else didn't comply with rules and regulations. You weren't supposed to be bail jumping. You weren't supposed to be violating your probation. You weren't supposed to be in any type of relationship with a minor, not alone having a relationship with her. You impregnated her and then you continue to abuse her. You weren't supposed to do all of those things. You weren't supposed to have contact with your mother, with your nephew, with your niece, and you lived in a doggone backyard. You weren't supposed to be driving a car without a license and insurance because you didn't pay child support. What about all of the things that you failed to do or not to do that you weren't supposed to do? And now you want to sit up here and get on her for having a little beverage? As if that's the reason, that's the culprit to why you did what you did. You are just a piece of work.
And rules of the women's shelter, no drugs, no alcohol.
Yes,
Sustained. Next question, Mr. Brooks.
Is there any type of drug and alcohol testing at the women's shelter?
I don't know. No,
No, or you don't know?
I don't know.
She don't know.
Would it be fair to say that if it was found that you were engaging in drugs and alcohol, that you might have lost your place at the women's shelter?
Okay, what that got to do with you? You
Okay,
ain't paying
next
for her to
question.
be there.
So around what time were you hanging out with Miss Corey, you said?
I don't remember.
She don't know.
Do you remember where you were at?
Frame Park.
Do you remember where in Frame Park?
No,
At the park.
And approximately at what time did you meet up with the alleged defendant?
I
She don't
remember.
know.
How long were you with the alleged defendant? Do you remember that?
Approximately 35 minutes.
Do you recall what? Well, you said that during this time you were with the alleged defendant that there was a argument going on. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Do you remember what that argument was about?
He was arguing with me about money because I did not bail him out.
If you knew that the conversation was becoming volatile, why did you still meet up with the alleged defendant?
You asked her that already.
To your knowledge, did the alleged defendant know anything about the city of Waukesha?
Yes.
And what did the alleged defendant know about Waukesha?
He told me, Mr. Brooks told me that his first child's mother lives in Waukesha.
Do you know that to be a fact?
That's what Mr. Brooks told me.
Are you aware that the alleged defendant, in fact, has no mother of any child that lives in the city of Waukesha?
Who cares?
Mr. Brooks wants to testify, you should do so. Make a statement, try.
Sustained. You don't need to answer that.
Yes, ma'am.
Other than what you can recall about what the alleged defendant told you that they knew about Waukesha, how did the alleged defendant meet up with you in the location that you gave?
Mr. Brooks already knew where Frame Park was.
Mm.
Mr. Brooks previously had been to Waukesha plenty of times before. He's told me that.
Mm-hmm.
And when was that told to you, and what conversation? Was it that day?
Before that, I'm not sure which day it was. I just know he knows about Waukesha.
So would it be fair to say that when you told the alleged defendant where you were, that the alleged defendant knew exactly where you were?
Yes,
And how would the alleged defendant know that?
because Mr. Brooks already knew Waukesha. He knew exactly where to go.
Did you at any time give directions where you may have been?
How could I give directions when I barely knew Waukesha myself?
Is that a no?
That's a no, sorry.
That's okay. Thank you.
So if you barely knew Waukesha yourself, where did you get the information of where you were from, where you were at the time of the conversation via telephone?
I left the women's shelter with Corey, and she knows that location. She told me what Frame Park was. I didn't know the name.
And would it be fair to say, assuming from what you just said, that you were with the alleged defendant for approximately around 30 minutes or so?
Yes.
And during that time, did you make any disparaging remarks or anything to?
Yep, there we go. There we go. Now he's trying to say that if she had have made some disparaging remarks to him, that would be the reason why he retaliated and slapped her or punched her or attempted to run over her.
Entice the argument to escalate?
No.
So you didn't say anything at all during your 30 minutes with the alleged defendant?
No, because I was crying the whole time because Mr. Brooks was yelling at me, arguing with me.
So you said absolutely nothing at all?
I was crying the whole time.
Did you say anything?
It doesn't
No.
matter.
You said that during this, well, once you had got out of the vehicle, as you say, you stated that your friend Miss Corey pulled you away from the vehicle because it swerved.
Yes, it was in the video.
You do know that we just saw the video. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, but there's two angles of the video.
Well, we only saw one, so I'm referring to the video that we
Yes,
saw.
Corey pulled me out the way when Mr. Brooks made a U-turn, and you almost swerved into Miss Patterson, which is me.
Would it be fair to say that the video does not show that?
There's different angles, but the video does not show that. The video we watched.
So the video that we just watched, that the jury just saw, there is no swerving of the vehicle and you being pulled back. Would that be fair to
From
say?
that far angle, you can kind of see it. Yes.
Would that be fair to say? If
You
there's-
answered the question, Mr. Brooks. Next question.
Next
Minus
question.
6.11, sub 1, sub C. I direct your attention to that next question.
Do you recall what was said during the altercation between is it Miss Corey?
You
And
know who it
alleged defendant?
is.
No, I don't remember.
Would it be fair to say that you were standing right there?
Yes, I just don't remember what was being said.
Do you recall reporting anything that may have been said during that incident?
No.
Did you give a statement to anything that may have been said during that incident?
No.
Was anything directed towards you verbally in that incident?
Yes. Corey told Mr. Brooks, don't ever hit my F in front again.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that part. That was in the beginning.
Do you remember anything else that may have been said?
No,
Do you recall anything being said by Nick to the alleged
She
defendant?
just said
No.
she don't recall anything else
Do you
being
recall the
said.
alleged defendant saying anything to Nick?
no, I don't remember.
And you also stated that right after this incident, you talked to law enforcement. Would that be fair to say?
Yes,
At any time, did you report any abuse?
yes,
And what did you report?
that you hit me?
And you gave a statement to that effect?
No, not to that police officer, but the detectives at the women's shelter.
Well, I'm referring to right during, well,
Oh, I don't
directly
remember.
after the incident.
I don't remember what I told that police officer.
Do you remember what was said by the alleged defendant when that incident ended?
No, I do not remember.
Do you remember reporting in your statement that the last thing he said to me was FUB, erase my number? Do you remember that?
I don't remember.
Would it be fair to say that you reported that this was said?
I don't remember.
Do you remember giving a statement to that effect?
No,
Would it be fair to say that you gave a statement?
no, I don't remember. I gave a statement to the detectives at the women's center.
So
That's
would
what
it
I
be fair? I'm sorry, I didn't know.
You can answer.
Yes,
All right, next question.
Would it be fair to say that your memory is kind of cloudy of that day because you were intoxicated?
no,
Mm-mm.
There's a lot of things in this statement that you don't seem to remember. Is that fair to say?
Sustained. Next question.
Would it be fair to say that you reported two different incidents?
yes,
Do you remember the dates of those incidents that you
the
reported?
20th and the 21st.
Would it be fair to say that there was no incident on the 20th?
No.
Would it be fair to say that you were initially not truthful with law enforcement?
No.
Do you recall making a statement to law enforcement on November the 22nd of 2021?
I don't remember. I made the statement on the 21st of the day of the parade when I met the detectives that night.
Do you recall making a second statement the next day, or the next morning rather, which would have been the 22nd of November 2021?
Yes, I did actually. Yes, I did.
Do you recall what you reported that day?
I told them about the 20th when I met with Mr. Brooks, and all we did was argue. And you hit me then too.
So you reported incidents for 2 days in a row.
Yes,
Do you recall at any time telling law enforcement that you were not truthful and wanted to be truthful at that point?
no,
So you never made a statement to your knowledge that you fabricated a reported abuse incident.
no,
To the best of your knowledge, do you remember talking with a detective? I don't want to butcher this name. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Shut up.
A detective, BEHRENDT.
Not the spelling.
Detective Barron? Is it a detective or an officer?
It says detective, Your Honor.
Okay, ask your question.
Do you remember speaking with that detective?
yes,
Do you remember what you reported to that detective?
I don't remember.
I'm reading directly from the statement, Your Honor, if I may.
Ask your question.
Do you remember reporting to that detective saying you were not completely forthright with all of the information that you had given because you were afraid to get other people involved in your drama or your business?
I don't remember that.
And I'll object and move to strike based on the fact that I'm safe in saying that that is not from the report which the defendant is referring to.
The objection is sustained. I'll grant the motion to strike by the state of the question and any response that may have been elicited before I address the objection.
Your Honor, quick question on that. I'm reading directly from the report.
Next question, Mr. Brooks.
Just 1 second, Your Honor. I apologize for that, Your
Hurry the
Honor.
hell up.
Do you remember at any time speaking with Officer Guth?
Yes,
And do you recall on what date that was?
November 21st.
Do you remember what you reported on November the 21st?
That me and Mr. Brooks, I met with Mr. Brooks at Flame Park. Me and Mr. Brooks got into an altercation. You hit me. I jumped out of your car and I walked and met my friend Corey. You followed me. And then after that, Nick and Miss Corey, they called the police officer. And then you drove off.
Do you recall reporting to Officer Guth that you were not completely forthright with the information that you reported?
I don't remember. And no, actually, no, I did not say that. I apologize.
Do you recall in your reporting to Officer Guth that you were not forthright with the information that you gave?
No, I don't recall that.
So to the best of your recollection, at any time that you reported incidents to any law enforcement, at any time do you recall being untruthful?
No.
So do you remember the date and time of the first incident that you alleged?
I don't remember the time, but it was November 20th.
Do you remember what time of day that may have been?
I just said I don't remember.
Do you remember where you were at?
Frank Park.
So would it be fair to say that both alleged incidents that you are alleging happened at Frank Park?
The second incident on November 21st did not happen on Frank Park. We were driving around and he hit me.
What I'm asking is where you were at when you met up.
Frank Park, yes. That's not what you
on both
just said.
alleged occasions?
Yes. That's how Mr. Brooks knew where Frank Park is. He already knew Walker Shire in the first place.
Same park.
Yes.
Do you
Yes.
remember where you were at in Frank Park?
No, it was in the parking lot. The first side of the parking lot. Kind of by the baseball field, I think that is. If that is the baseball field.
Do you recall who you were with?
Nobody. I was with Corey on November 21st, and the first day on November 20th, I was by myself.
So it would be fair to say that you went to the park alone.
Yes, I met up with Mr. Brooks intentionally.
This is only a tactic. So people that are skillful at manipulation, this is what they do. Okay. They keep going around and around and around, asking you the same questions in different ways to frustrate you, to make you to become upset. So then the roles reverse. Now they're the victim, you're lashing out at them. He is trying to make it as if she is untruthful and that she, at any given time, can become easily agitated. And that is why he put the pause on her, okay? And it caused him to be upset and drive through the parade. This is getting on my nerves. Okay. I am trying to get to the end, y'all. Bear with me. I might not be able to make it. I'm really agitated at this point in time.
On the 20th, yes.
Were you drinking that day?
No.
And how did you know how to get to Frank Park, as you call it?
I knew how to get to Frank Park. I've been the previous times before that with Miss Corey. Walking past it. I knew how to get to because Corey walked with me that day too. I just was not with her. She walked towards there with me.
And so then you separated?
Yes.
Did you separate from Miss Corey at any time during the 21st?
Yes, I did. She left with Nick and I was with Mr. Daryl Brooks.
Do you recall to the best of your knowledge that it may have been someone else that she was with, that was with you that day?
She was by which day? Are you clarifying? Which day?
November the 21st of 2020.
She was with Nick that day.
The entire day?
Yes.
And you guys separated from that point?
Yes.
Would it be fair to say you guys separated after hanging out and drinking?
Mr. Brooks, under 906.11,
Move
sub
on.
1, sub C, you need to move on to a new topic. We've been over this multiple times. It's been asked, it's been answered. Now it's under my authority under 906.11, sub 1, sub C, you need to move on.
How did you communicate with the
dear.
alleged defendant on November 20th of 2021?
Phone calls.
Strictly phone calls, texts?
Both. Mostly phone calls.
Do you remember what was said in those texts and phone
Same
calls?
conversation we had on the 21st. He was mad, so I wasn't giving him money from not bailing him out.
So why would you meet up with the alleged defendant that day?
Because I just wanted to. We have a 15-year-old together. I mean, I was going to talk to you then.
Do you remember if there was any agreed upon meeting up that day?
Yes.
By you, by the alleged defendant?
Both.
Do you remember the reason why you were meeting up?
I just said why.
So it would have been just to conversate,
Just to conversate.
would it be fair to say that you could have communicated strictly by the phone?
Yes.
Under 906.11, sub 1, sub C, the objection is sustained. Next topic, if you have one, Mr. Brooks.
You said that you came to Wisconsin from another state. Would that be fair to say?
Atlanta, Georgia, yes. June 13th, 2021.
Why did you leave Georgia?
We were coming out here for 2 weeks, and I never went back.
Can you state why you never went back?
Number
Because
one, I
you
came
ran
out, I
her
didn't have money.
over.
Number two, I had no way to get back. And you were always, Mr. Brooks was always physical.
Did anybody at any time ever lend any help to help you go back to Georgia?
No.
Did you, to the best of your recollection, did you want to go back to Georgia?
Sustained. Next question, please.
Why didn't you file a report with law enforcement on November the 20th after you alleged that you were abused?
because I've been dealing with it for so many years, I just didn't do it. I don't see
So
what this has anything to do with this case.
how long have you known the alleged defendant again?
Since I was 15, I'm 32 now.
Would it be fair to say that um, you lived in different states from the alleged defendant?
Yes, but
I'm sorry, that there was,
I was gonna ask for clarification on the timeline there.
sustain the objection, rephrase the question.
I was gonna get to that, Your Honor. Would it be fair
Hurry
to say that
up.
during the duration of the time knowing the alleged defendant that the majority of that time you did not live in the same area or state?
yeah, yes, off and on. I met Mr. Brooks in Reno, Nevada. I moved out of Reno, Nevada in 2017 to Atlanta, Georgia. I moved Mr. Brooks throughout. I've known throughout, back and forth, off and on. The whole 16 years, me and Mr. Brooks were not together, but it was off and on.
Did you guys live in the same area off and on during that time?
Sustain.
Out of the 16 years you said it was, correct?
Yes, off and on, Mr. Brooks.
How much of that time did you actually spend with the alleged defendant?
Sustained. Also under 9611 sub 1 sub C. Move on.
At the time of this alleged incident, were you in the alleged defendant in any kind of relationship?
Yes.
And were you a couple? Were you just co-parenting, or what was the nature of the relationship? Basically,
we were together. I wouldn't have came to Milwaukee, Wisconsin if I was not with him.
So it'd be fair to say that you were in a committed relationship?
Yes.
Before you came back into contact with the alleged defendant, how long had it been since you had seen the alleged defendant?
I don't know, but it's years, a couple years.
So it would be fair to say that there was a significant gap in between interactions with the alleged defendant?
Yes.
Sustained, however, she provided the answer. It may stand. Next question.
So during your time, approximately how long were you staying around the alleged defendant before this incident on November 21st took place?
I don't know the exact time.
Any separations or gaps during that time?
Sustained.
At any time during these alleged incidents, were you with someone other than Ms. Corey?
Corey and Nick the day of the 21st, and then we separated and I met back up with them.
Any time during that day were you with anyone else besides those two that you just named?
Mr. Brooks, you.
What about the alleged incident on the 20th?
I left with Miss Corey, and then she went a whole different direction, and I went to Flame Park and met up with Mr. Brooks.
To the best of your recollection, you were not drinking on both of those days that you signed, the 20th or the 21st?
The 21st.
Hold on. Mr. Brooks, under 9611, I'm stopping this cross-examination. You asked the same question, multiple questions, multiple times, and at this point, I'm going to declare that the opportunity to cross is now concluded.
I didn't know that was the same question, Your Honor.
Mr. Brooks has been asked and answered multiple times. So with that, I'm going to turn to the state to see if they have any.
We done. Erica, I want you to know that you are smart, you are strong, you are loved, you are respected, you matter, you have the potential to do well in life. We will not bash you for choices that you made under pain, under duress. We will not bash you for being a child that unfortunately hooked up with someone who is a monster. Okay. We will not bash you for being in pain. We will not bash you for asking for help and never being able to get it. I celebrate you. I celebrate you for the things that you will do in life. I pray that you become successful. I pray that you find love within yourself. I pray that you will someday be able to reconcile with your children and that you guys' relationship can blossom. Erica, I pray that you get the right people in your corner that can fight for you and with you. I know you have a trial coming up where you have to face this monster again, and I am praying for strength for you to do this. You have a lot of people who are rallying around you in love and in peace. And from me, in the bottom of my heart, I wish you well. I truly do. You will not get any type of hate coming from me. I will not blame you for any choices that you had to make under those specific circumstances whatsoever. I want to read a poem that I found the person's name. It's actually, I'm just going to leave it anonymous, but it is about surviving abuse. I have had some people reach out to me who are survivors of abuse, and fortunately, they were able to make it out. And so I commend you. I applaud you. I want to read this to celebrate you, and then I'm going to peace out. Okay. So the poem reads as follows: I am me, anguish and turmoil churning inside of me. I am sick, confused, exhausted, perplexed. My heart and mind shaking with insecurity, my eyes leaking tears of worry, of dread. I'm afraid. So much pressure on me now. The stress causes my body to fold. I cannot eat. I cannot rest. I cannot cope much longer. I ask why? Just why? Why could you not have loved me? Life is changed forever in the chaos of my mind. There is a stillness in knowing I can heal. I can recover. Days, years, decades, or more, I continue enduring and fighting for truth. The slow agony of your lies are over. I'm not broken, even though I feel so. I have strength. You made me believe I needed you. You made me believe I was hopeless. You cursed me, taunted me, shamed me, and belittled me. I was weak, but I escaped. Now the shivering reality of change has hit. I don't know how to live. I don't know who I can be. I try to make sense, but so long spent has been spent surviving. I'm sorry. I think I've forgotten who I am I. Who do I want to be? Without you, I'm at peace. Without you, I am me. Anybody who has survived any type of abuse from a parent, a spouse, a lover, a friend, please know that you are important. You matter. You will survive. I am rooting for you. All is not lost. All is well. You will be okay. Persevere. Okay. I love everybody everywhere. I don't know if that sounds corny, but I do. I want everybody to be well, to do well. Thank you again to my 153 subscribers. I appreciate everybody so much. Remember, this is a healthy space for us to interact and love on each other despite the shenanigans that goes on in the world. I wish everybody the best. I am on my way to Walmart because I have to cook dinner tonight. So I will see you guys next time. As always, be easy and y'all take care. Bye.